Hey, morning. Here we are. We're live at about 8:30 on a Monday morning. And why are we doing live? We're doing it because it's a property finance Q&A, and that's what I do on a Monday morning. Been doing it for coming up 6 years now. And what does it do? It builds a bank of questions and answers that I've got stored. I've stored every one of them, and I think I might be able to utilise that in some way. But hey, what do? You guys jump on, and you get something off your chest. There's been something that's bugging you. There's something that you think, I'm really frustrated because I don't know the answer to this. And it's to do with property finance, because I spent over 20 years brokering every type of property finance you can think of. What do you want to know? Really simply, it's a very simple concept. You ask a question about anything to do with property finance, and I'll give you the answer based on that 20-year experience. So I'm here with a trusty cup of tea, waiting for you to ask me a question. So ask me a question and I'll answer it, and it works pretty well. I say I'll hang around here for about 30 minutes. Some weeks it's a bit less than 30 minutes. Some weeks it's quite a bit more, actually, because people get stuck in and ask the questions. So it usually takes a few minutes for people to log in and then decide that they're going to ask a question. Most of the time people just log in and watch, but then sometimes they actually ask questions, and we get some really, really good questions. And it's all driven by you guys, because I'm just sitting here with all the answers, but no point me telling you stuff if it's not what you're wanting to know right this minute. So what is it you want to know right this minute about property finance, that if you knew it, it would shift you forward in a way that you're currently feeling a bit stuck? So while we're waiting for a question, let me tell you about BRR Boardrooms, because BRR Boardrooms, I've decided that rather than running them in major cities, like London and Birmingham and that, I'm gonna take them round the country, and I'm going to be doing it over the next several weeks, really. Start off in March. We've got 4 cities in March. So I'm just getting a little notification about LinkedIn, and a little problem on LinkedIn there, but coming through on LinkedIn, because I do this on LinkedIn, I do it on YouTube, I do it on a couple of my Facebook groups, Kevin Wright Property. So yeah, there we are. So BRR Boardrooms, it's a great concept, and you know what? People that attend, they absolutely love it. They love BRR Boardrooms, and so what goes on in the BRR Boardroom, you might be thinking? Well, I give you the lowdown on how to how to simplify buy, refurb, refinance into a 7-step sequential, easy to follow process that produces predictable results. So just do these 7 steps in this order, and I give you a lot of detail on finance as well. So how to finance deals, and how to find them, how to finance them, how to get exponential value added, then pull your money out. And I've got a whole history of people that have got all money out deals, and now they've got free properties, if you want to put it like that, because they've got none of their own money left in that property. Now, if you want happy, clappy, loud music, jump up and down, high fives, then look, I'll be honest, I'm not the guy for you, because I don't do that. But if you want solid, implementable, real use property concept, then I deliver that. And the best thing about boardrooms is we have 2 sessions before the event on Zoom, a BRR deal finder session. And whenever I do that session, we just find bundles of deals, BRR deals, that could work really well. And then the other session is I analyse them. So we jump on a BRR deal clinic where I analyse the deals that people have found for BRR suitability. So why don't you come along? Hey, and if you live in Reading or Milton Keynes or Leicester or Nottingham, I'm going to be there in March. So just go to the BRR Boardroom. Now, for me, it's on this side of the screen. I don't know whether it's used. Just under my name, brrboardroom.com. Come along. There's only 10 places in each one, so you'd need to just go check out the link. And there's an awful lot more information on the link. So, hey, go and check it out. So, got a question? And if not, that's okay. Not having questions mean I've got a quite nice counterbalance, actually, because I sometimes I spend up to an hour on these, really drilling down and answering people's questions. So if we got a short one today, that's okay. That's the rub of the green, as they say. It ebbs and it flows. Now, what else can you do? You can join my Recycle Your Cash Facebook group if you like. Why would you do that? Well, because you can ask questions any day of the week there. So let me give you a link to that. Just go and grabbing that link. And we'll pop that in here. And I'll put it up on screen. There you go. Facebook /groups/Recycle Your Cash. So come in there and ask a question. And I'll answer it during the week. I'm in there pretty much every day, really. So there we are. What else could you do? You could find my YouTube channel. Now, if you've just joined, what have you got? What property finance question have you got that you'd like to ask? Because I'll just I'll just answer your question. So what is it you want to know? Got a question? Got something bugging you? Got something frustrating you? Got something that's making you feel stuck? Well, fire away and I'll answer it. And hi, if you just joined. A few more of you joining there. So what is it you want to know about property finance? I've been talking about BRR Boardrooms. If you haven't been here, talk about the events I'm running up in March in Reading, Milton Keynes, Leicester and Nottingham. So if these are your areas, hey, come along. Now, here we go. We got a question. It's Steve. Hello, Steve. How you doing? From Plymouth way, I think, isn't it? Is it Plymouth or Torquay? Can't remember, one of the two. But you're down in that West Country area. So you're purchasing a freehold shop. You're purchasing the freehold of a shop and 2 uppers. And I'm unsure what to do with the shop. It's in a dying high street. What would you do with it? Well, it's an interesting question, Steve, and it's something I delve into in actually great detail on my full Ninja Investor training program. Because what can you do with it? Well, first of all, you can get any shop with any business that you like, pretty much, with the exception of maybe takeaways. Any shop can rent it out. You don't need permission from the council to put any type of shop in there. You used to do until September 2020, and they deregulated it all. So look, literally any business. And I think the businesses that tend to work better are the personal service business. Nail bars, hairdressers, the sort of stuff that I call them Amazon-proof businesses, because the stuff you can't actually go and get. But again, there are a lot of shops now are hybrid. They've got a physical presence, but they've also got an online presence as well. So you got the best of both worlds there. There are commercial letting agents, and they would know in your area if there's anyone looking for a specific size of shop. It's not the type of shop, because they can pretty much make it what they want. I mean, the great thing about commercial shops is that you don't have to pay to refurb it. They do. So the first thing is to understand that literally any business can go in there, regardless of what it is. You've got carte blanche approval, planning approval, put any business in there. Second thing is check out with commercial letting agents in the area and see, because they should have businesses waiting. You can go on things like, there are some specialist websites. I think it's LoopNet or things like that. Another thing to do is, can you subdivide it down into smaller spaces? Maybe it's too big to rent out. The layout of the shop would determine that, but maybe you could put up some partition walls, and I've seen people be very successful at doing that. Can you convert to residential with permitted development? Pretty much, yes, you can. I'm not a planning expert, but I know people that are. And shops into resi is fine in almost all circumstances. One caveat, though, to that is you can't change the frontage. So, of course, shops have got usually big, deep windows, way more than a house would have. And I think one of the ways, and maybe you've seen this too, Steve, but one of the ways that people deal with that in a commercial to resi conversion is they use that frosted glass, whether it's actual panes of glass or whether it's just a film that you stick over that so that people actually can't see it in. You retain all the light, and whether you want to use that as some sort of lounge or home office or whatever, whatever they want to do. But yeah, you should be able to do that as well. So good luck with the purchase, Steve. Melba Properties, how are you doing? I think you're coming in through Facebook this morning, because LinkedIn seems to have a bit of an issue going out on there, so I don't know quite what that is. is there a specific mortgage you would need to get if you have a tenant for a property who wants to rent it for 2 years and then buy it for 2 years? No, no specific mortgage. And that's quite a common strategy, the tenant buyer strategy. So no, your buy-to-let mortgage is unaltered. Now, what you could do this two ways. Now, typically, they would need to save up a deposit. Now, they might not need, if they're a good tenant, they might not need much of a deposit because they're starting to be more main residence lenders that will lend on minimal deposits for a main residence. And certainly there's more 5% and even less than 5% deposit mortgages out there. Now, one of the things that you could do to make this work is that you could allow them to save their deposit. And one way it could work is what's called a rent overage facility. So let's say in 2 years, you could say, how much do you want to pay? How much can you save a month? Now, they could put it into a savings account. You're not going to get much interest on that. You would get a bit. But another way they could do it is if they identify the solicitor that they want to use to buy the property, they or you could make regular monthly deposits into that solicitor and build up a deposit in their solicitor's separate client account where they keep client monies. Now, why is this important? Because at the point that your tenant wants to ask for a mortgage, the mortgage lender is going to ask the solicitor to confirm that the funds for the deposit have come from the client themselves and they haven't been parachuted in from elsewhere. So if your tenant has been putting money monthly, either by paying it to you and then you forwarded it to the solicitor, or they do it directly themselves, you would have more control if they gave you the rent, let's say, plus £300 a month. I'm just using that as a figure. Could be any figure. Could be higher. Could be lower. But you want to make it chunky so that in 2 years you've got at least a 5% deposit, because that'll open up more options to you. That's the key thing. So your mortgage is just normal because to you, all they are is a tenant. When they want to buy it, they've built up a deposit over those 2 years. It's been lodged with a solicitor, so the solicitor can validate that it is their own money, which will keep the mortgage lender happy. So that would be a really good way to do it. Good. So thanks for your questions, and good to read that you're very well today. Good. Excellent. Steve's come back and say, perfect. Good. Okay, so there we are. Good luck with that, Steve. Feel free to let us know how it goes on. And certainly you can, I think you're in the Recycle Your Cash group, aren't you? Already, so you can pop in there and just keep us up to date. See how you get on with it. That'd be good. There we are. So let's see what else we got. If you weren't on earlier in this post or in this broadcast, then you'd have missed me telling you that I'm going to be in Reading, Milton Keynes, Leicester and Nottingham in the first couple of weeks of March. And if you want to come and spend a day with me at a BRR Boardroom, where you can be one of just maximum 10 people learning about how to make buy, refurb, refinance predictable, which means you can have a property and get all your money out. then go to buy refurb, refinance, brrboardroom.com. There you go. So it's CEP Properties, which I know is Lynn. There we are. Hello, Lynn. How are you today? I am well. Yes. Thanks for asking. Seen a short lease flat above a shop. Just a flat for sale. The lease has 52 years remaining, so cash buyers only. How long typically to renew the lease? Okay, so do you mean how long is the process of renewing the lease, or how many years should you renew the lease for? So that's it did say morning, Kevin, and it auto-corrected. Yeah, I know, auto-correct's a bit of a pain in there, isn't it? Okay, so I'll answer both of those. And you're very well. Well, that's nice to hear. Thank you. Or nice to read, shall we say. Good. Right, so back to your question. How long typically to renew the lease? Okay, the process, but both would be useful. Yeah, okay, all right. So now you've done my training. So if you go back into the 50% BMV module, there's a whole section specifically around this. So it'd be great to rewatch that, Lynn, and you can remind yourself. But I'll give you a quick heads up here for the benefit of you and also anyone that's watching this, or if you're watching the replay, you can watch this too. So what is the process? Well, the process determines which of the two routes you choose to take. There's the voluntary route or the statutory route, and which of those you choose will determine both parts, how long the process is and how long you extend the lease for. Now, if you go down the voluntary route, which means you and the freeholder just strike up a conversation and say, hey, I'd like to extend my lease. And they say, well, how many years do you fancy? And you pick a number. Typically, you pick a number that pushed it over 100 years. So if yours has got 52, you'd probably put a 50-year extension on that lease. And they would come back to you and say, here's the price for adding 50 years to the lease. Now, because it's all just informal, it can be done reasonably quickly, as quickly as yours and the freeholder solicitors want to do it, really. But what you lack is the structure to hook the freeholder in. So the freeholder might decide to pull out at any process and any stage of that process, and there's nothing you can really do about it. Alternatively, you can go down the statutory route. Now, the statutory route does bind the freeholder to complete the process, and it also binds them to operate within a specific range of prices based on the years left on the lease, 52, the ground rent, and the extended value of that flat. So put those three into a process and you come out with a number or a range of numbers within a high and low parameter. And then you just negotiate on that basis. Now that, because it's legal and it's underwritten by law, it has to follow a process. You kick it off by triggering a Section 42 notice, but it has to kick on and get done. But there are time delays, built into that. So in other words, when you start the process off, the freeholder has up to 3 months to respond. Typically, it's a 7 to 9 month stretch to add years to the lease. Now, the other thing about the statutory one, and you'll know this when you revisit the training that you've got access to. You don't pick the number of years. You don't suggest a number of years. The freeholder doesn't suggest a number of years. It's written down in law. It's 90 years. So you'd add 90 years. So in other words, you're 52 years. You'd add 90 to become 142 years. And then, of course, that would spike the value because now it's mortgageable. So there you go. So it's any number of years you want to name on the voluntary process, but 90 on fixed, 90 on the statutory process. It can be shorter on the voluntary basis, the informal basis, but you can't actually tie the freeholder down to completing the process. The statutory one should take 7 to 9 months, but it could be as long as 12 months. Great question. And be interested to see what you find out about that shop. Oh, also, the other thing is be wary of what's below that shop, because that could determine which mortgage lenders are prepared to lend. And also not just below, directly below, but actually adjacent. And if it's in a small parade of shops, and like a lot of these towns or even parts of towns, vicinities of towns, if it's shops on, I'll do it this way around, shops on left and right hand side of the road, it's what's opposite as well as what's adjacent. So you want to be careful about what those things are, because mortgage lenders, buy-to-let mortgage lenders don't like so much stuff that is socially disruptive, i.e. things that open late in the evening, or things that serve alcohol, that type of thing, or even cook food on the premises, that is. So make sure you know what's around and about. Okay, considering I might need the bridge, how long I might need the bridge for? Yes, of course, actually, you'd work that out. One shop below and nearby, it's a tattoo shop. I think that's pretty innocuous, isn't it, really? I don't suppose they're open late into the evening, every evening. Maybe they've got like a one night a week where they're open till 9 p.m, but the rest of the time they're shut by 5, 6 o'clock. So check the opening hours on the tattoo shop, but that seems fairly innocuous, I would have thought. Now, how long you need the bridging loan for? Well, bear in mind that once you've extended the lease, you've got to sell or refinance, and you need to allow 6 months for that. Now, if you need to buy it quickly, and it could take up to 12 months plus 6 months to sell or refinance it, then you're going to need to factor in the cost of bridging it for 18 months. But you can also, now you know how to do this, or you can relearn how to do this, because now I've taught it to you, about exchange with delay completion. And this is a great opportunity to do that. So you could exchange contracts at the Section 42 notice issue point, and then you can just delay the completion until the lease extended. That way you only need 6 months bridging, not 18 months bridging. And you know, you remember me saying this, that either or offers are a great way to present to an agent or an owner. You can say, look, I can buy this quick, or I can buy it not so quick. If you go in the not so quick route, I can pay more money. But what's more important to you? Speed of completion, or the amount you get paid, the amount you receive? And then you can structure that. Well, I can do it both ways. And one, you bought, if it's speed, you've priced in 18 months bridging, and if it's more money, then it's exchange with delay completion, and it's less bridging. So there we are. Again, want any help on that? You know, you're in my training program, so you know you get my eyes on your deals. Remember, so let's have a look. And hey, I know you bought one flat using my training already, so let's have a look now. Flats above shops. The one thing to understand is the cheapest buy-to-let lenders won't lend, so you're going to have higher rates of interest. Now you can offset that if you buy it at a low enough price. You know, chatting to Isaac in the brokerage about what sort of rate you could get for a flat above a shop, that would give you an idea on, and he would give you, you know, some monthly quotes, so you could see what the rent is, what the mortgage payment would be at a given cost, and then you can structure your price accordingly. So you can still buy these, but you just have to be a bit wary, a bit tighter on the cost that you pay, because your mortgage rate is going to be higher. So really great question there, Lynn. Thank you, and good luck with it. So there we are, guys. We've rolled round to the 30 minutes. Took a little bit a while to get going today, as it often does, but we got there. Now, if you've got a question, you better be quick, because I'm going to be off in a few minutes. What am I doing this week? It's mentorship week, so it's Ninja Achievers. So I'll be meeting up tomorrow and Wednesday with the two cohorts, and we're going to be checking out what they've been up to, because when we met in January, each of the members of these cohorts gave me a list of things they're going to be doing, actions that were achievable in 4 weeks. So tomorrow and Wednesday, I'm going to be holding them to account. And they're saying, okay, here's what you said you're going to do a month ago. What did you do? And it's an amazingly productive way to get stuff done, because when you make a public declaration, it just fires up something in your brain. And then personal pride means I don't want to be that sort of person that doesn't really follow through. So you get stuff done. So just a reminder before I wrap up, and of course, Lynn's just saying, thanks very much. As always, you're most welcome. Just wrapping up then, if you're, unless someone pops a question in, which sometimes happens, actually it happens quite a lot really, that if you're in Reading, Milton Keynes, Leicester or Nottingham, I'm going to be in your town. Or if you can get to any of those places, I'm going to be there in March. Check out BRRboardroom.com, and you can see where actually I'm going to be and what date I'm going to be on. I think from memory, it's Reading on the 5th, Milton Keynes on the 7th, Leicester on the 10th, Nottingham on the 14th of March, of course. And I'm going to be bringing that BRR Roadshow to town. So there we are. And I'd love to share that day with you. So brrboardroom.com. I'm going to be back next Monday, and we're going to do it all again. So have a great week, and I'll see you next week.